Dana White once told the world directly and without hesitation that women would never compete in the UFC. Ronda Rousey didn't ask for permission. She built the division anyway. That's the story. Not just the undefeated run, not just the 2 losses, not just the retirement. The real story is what sports does to a woman who creates something historic and then publicly fails. Because the system that lionized Ronda Rousey was the same system that discarded her, and it did it in under 12 months. If you've never thought about sports media that way, stay with me. This one will change how you watch women's athletics. Before 2012, the UFC was a men's organization by design. Dana White had said publicly that women in the octagon wasn't something he was considering. The market, in his view, wasn't there. Rousey had other data. She was a judoka, Olympic bronze medalist, London 2012, the first American woman to medal in judo at the Olympics. She transitioned to MMA and went undefeated in the regional circuit. Every fight ended fast. Her armbar was described by coaches and commentators as technically separate from the rest of women's MMA. Not just effective, but systematic. She didn't just win, she controlled. White saw her fight. He reversed his position. In February 2013, Ronda Rousey became the first ever UFC women's bantamweight champion. Not through a tournament, not through a bracket. The belt was created around her. That is not a metaphor. That is the literal sequence of events. What followed between 2013 and 2015 was one of the most dominant stretches any fighter, male or female, had produced in UFC history. She defended the title 6 times. Her opponents were finished, most of them in the first round. The fights were not competitive. They were demonstrations. The mainstream media took notice. Rousey appeared on the cover of ESPN, the magazine, Sports Illustrated, Rolling Stone. She hosted Saturday Night Live. She starred in major studio films. In 2015, Forbes named her the highest-paid female athlete in the world. She was earning $14 million that year. Serena Williams, who had more Grand Slams than anyone alive, came in second. November 14, 2015, UFC 193, Melbourne, Australia. The largest attendance in UFC history at that point, 56,214 people. Holly Holm was not considered a serious threat by the broader public. The narrative going in was Rousey's coronation, not her test. 59 seconds into the second round, Holm landed a left head kick. Rousey went down. The stoppage came immediately. It was the first loss of Rousey's professional career. The coverage that followed was not measured. Within hours, the tone had shifted from all-time great suffers first loss to something more psychological, more personal. Sports outlets that had published profiles about her mental toughness now ran analysis of her mental fragility. The same characteristics framed as competitive fury were reframed as brittleness. She didn't give interviews for months. She later said in a conversation with Ellen DeGeneres that in the days after the loss, she had thoughts she had never had before. A moment where she was sitting in a hospital asking herself why she should be alive. She was 28 years old. She came back 13 months later. UFC 207, December 30th, 2016. Amanda Nunes was the reigning champion, 48 seconds. Nunes landed a series of punches. Rousey covered up against the fence. The referee stopped it. This time, the coverage didn't wait for analysis. The verdict arrived in real time, faster than the post-fight press conference. The word sad appeared repeatedly, used not as condolence, but as diagnosis. She did not fight again. Here is what the coverage consistently failed. Holly Holm went on to fight for the title multiple times. Amanda Nunes defended the bantamweight championship 11 times and is widely considered the greatest female mixed martial artist in history. Losing to those two fighters is not evidence of fragility. It's evidence of the level Rousey was competing at. And then there's what the coverage ignored, what she actually built. When Rousey entered the UFC, there was no women's division. When she left, there were 4. Today, women's bouts headline pay-per-views. Women's MMA fighters have sponsorship portfolios, documentary deals, mainstream visibility. The commercial infrastructure of the UFC expanded directly because of what Rousey created between 2012 and 2015. She built the house. Other people moved in. When she couldn't stay, she was removed from the narrative. This is not a new pattern in women's sports. It's a specific and recurring one. Male athletes who built categories tend to be memorialized even when their careers end in loss or decline. Their foundational role gets separated from their final record. Women rarely get that framing. For women, the last performance tends to become the defining one. The arc gets collapsed into the ending. Rousey's ending was 2 losses. Her arc was creating a billion-dollar division from a starting point of institutional resistance. The media chose the losses. There's a question worth sitting with. When a woman builds something from nothing in professional sports, absorbs the risk, creates the market, forces the infrastructure to exist, does she get to share in what she built? Or does she get remembered for the 2 fights at the end? The UFC's women's divisions exist because Ronda Rousey made them exist. That is not a small thing. It is, in fact, the entire thing. And the sports world moved on from her so fast that the conversation about her legacy, this one, is happening almost a decade later, in the past tense, without her in the room. That should tell you something about how this system works and who it was built for.